lincolnamericaplant.com to get started.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Just wrapped up with the Husker Football Hour with Austin Orman, Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald. You guys can go back, YouTube, rewatch that one. But be sure to do it after this show with me and DeMornay Pierson-El, the former Husker wide receiver, special teams threat. DeMornay Pierson-El, it's a pretty, I don't want to say it's really too cold out, pretty decent week here for Christmas. We got Christmas.
It doesn't feel like it's Christmas.
This year on Wednesday. I'll bring you in now. DPE, how's it going on this Monday, Christmas week?
It's going good. It doesn't really feel like Christmas exactly, but, I mean, we're here. You know, it got to the end of the year fast.
Yeah, I don't know. What does it got to do to feel like Christmas? Because I'm in the same thought bubble. Like, it doesn't feel like we're about to hit the 25th.
I mean, of course, snow is a big one. I think everybody or a lot of people that I've talked to, you know, they wish for a white Christmas. I'm not really tripping as long as, you know, it's not too cold.
Yeah, those people who say that until you have to be one of those people that doesn't on Christmas Day, don't ever wish for that. Because someone's got to go out there and clean it up.
So I think that's the biggest one. I mean, it's been cold, but it's not, you know, December cold, honestly. So I think that's like another. It's not the miserable cold just yet. It's tolerable.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like it was like last week. You know, there's multiple days I'm just going out in like t-shirts, in a hoodie. Feels like fall, not like Christmas. But we are here. Huskers are gonna have a bowl game after Christmas. They got the Pinstripe Bowl. We also got some NFL tonight. We'll quickly talk about that. We do got the Saints versus the Green Bay Packers. It is in Lambeau Field. Pretty cold. It does feel like Christmas up in Lambeau Field. It's freezing
Packers.
up there. Yeah, I got the Packers too. They're at home. They're good. I'll just say they're better than the Saints. Like at the Saints, there's nothing about the Saints that really scares me.
No, not one thing, not in the slightest bit at all.
No, like they're good enough to beat the Raiders, the Bears, you know, the Giants, like the bottom feeders. Packers, yeah, I got the Packers. I'd like the upset. Probably not going to happen. If it was in New Orleans, maybe, but definitely not on a
Lambeau outside. Nah, I just don't. I think that's a little bit too much to handle.
I'm right there with you. So yeah, I got the Packers as well. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. We do got Boston College Saturday. Our pregame show will start all the way up to 8 a.m. So from 8 to 11, we'll cover you guys through there. But I'd imagine the fan base is going to travel well. You're probably going to see a lot of red. Probably not a whole lot of golden maroon.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How much do you think Boston shows up? Is it kind of because they'll have an easier travel?
Who's going to care? There's not going to be enough seats. Like this is the first bowl game since 16. Every, you know, I understand like it may be not the a desirable destination, but this is the first time, you know, this is something to cheer forward to, like, oh, okay, something to look forward to. So I think Big Red is showing up regardless.
Yeah, and it's in Yankee Stadium. Capacity is only 46,000. That place can fill up pretty quick.
Well, I got us, you know, well over half of that. Christmas time or in New York, it's a lot of things. A lot of people maybe from the Midwest might not experience that or whatnot. It's a lot going on. I mean, people can make it a Christmas trip like that. I don't think New York would be a bad place to spend Christmas.
No, it's like one of the best spots to go ahead and spend your Christmas.
Literally.
Like you think of a Christmas city, you think of New York.
Big
How many
Ray
Hallmark
is
movies?
traveling.
Yeah, exactly. No, that should be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. Also, I mean, what are your thoughts? Matt Rule, just out of his own pocket. Let's get all the guys from last year, all the seniors from last year as well. Kind of giving some jokes, some jabs out to Nuri, having him flying all the way from Germany. But thoughts on that?
That's I tip my cap to him. Some of those guys, never got to experience things, and for them to come back, and be able to kind of be around and experience that and whatnot. I mean, that makes you even like, Matt Rule. I mean, Coach Rule, even more. It's something outside the box. I mean, 'tis the season, as they say, of giving and whatnot, and that's a hell of a thing to give. A trip to New York and to be around and kind of get that experience. Bowl games are fun. So like I said, it's thinking outside the box for him. He really thinks and cares about his players, and I think that says a lot about it.
Yeah, and like that's the thing I take away from it the most is like just a really good guy. If he didn't do it, nobody was gonna care. So like he purely just did that, to be a good guy to the former players who sacrificed last year. I just thought it was a really nice gesture, just because he simply didn't have to do that. That's not cheap to get all those guys to New York, all the hotels, the travel. I'm sure he's gonna buy some meals for the crew as well. Like there's a lot all involved aside from just getting there to New York. Cool gesture by him, didn't need to. But that is going to be cool because I think, even for the former players to get that experience, they'll get to see how the Husker fan base travels. Like I said, Yankee Stadium, I'd imagine that place fills up pretty easily. Just kind of hearing what I'm hearing, there's a lot of people traveling out for that bowl game, for the Pinstripe game. Kind of on that note, Pinstripe Bowl, what kind of version of Boston College we're going to see? That's the hard part. I just can't figure out. Like, with Boston College, the quarterback, it's not going to be their original starter. He backup who did start the last game of the year, so I guess not technically a backup. Outside of that, you look at their schedule, pretty easy schedule, but they also have some decent wins mixed in there. I mean, what do you expect of this Boston College team?
I think you'll get a pretty basic West Coast offensive scheme. They're going to be run heavy, play action, just because that quarterback is more of a dual threat quarterback, which, Coach O'Brien likes and thrives with those type of guys. They're physical in the run game. That's what they want to do. That's what they rely their strength on. So I think they'll hang their hat on that. I don't think it'll be anything crazy or whatnot. I think it will be easier to understand what he's going to do because it's more so what you've seen from O'Brien. Now, when they did have the more dynamic quarterback and everything like that, you had a lot more to worry about because, the kid could just say, to hell with it and do something with his feet. That aspect is kind of gone. You can honestly really make them one-dimensional as long as you're not getting blown off the ball and everything like that. So I don't think it's going to be anything eye-popping or something we haven't seen. I think if you go back to what he was, maybe a little bit of what he was doing with the Texans, a little bit when he was the offensive coordinator at Bama. I think for sure, especially what he was doing while he was at Penn State and whatnot, and some variations of what he was doing with the New England Patriots and everything like that. I don't think it's gonna be bombs over Baghdad. I don't think it's gonna be he'll take their shots. But they're gonna live off of that play action and intermediate route running and running downhill.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, with the quarterback they got in place now, he's more pro style. He'll take off and run. But yeah, at least just the small amount you see from him, he's accurate on the intermediate throws, very West Coast style. Like to me, it just feels like they're gonna be happy to take a 5-yard out every time. Like they don't really care if they never throw the ball super down far the field. They just want to do enough to set up that play action that just feels like the Boston College bread and butter. Just do enough in the passing game to set up the play action, and then if it's there, will take a deep shot. I'm just intrigued by it. At 7-5, how good is Boston College to you? Because at the beginning of the year, they beat up on Florida State. They hand Florida State their second straight loss. Then they kind of go on a tear. Then they lose some questionable games like to Virginia. I think to Virginia Tech as well. Just barely scraped by Western Kentucky. Like, where does this Boston College team size up in college football?
I think they're right above an average team. I mean, they won 7 games. That's not easy, to do. The ACC, I wouldn't say is a stacked conference, but you had good competition there. They're a dangerous team because if they kind of get into their rhythm and impose their will, it could look like how it looked like against, Florida State. If you're not, matching them or slowing them down, it could look like some of their early matchups to where they just look in complete control. First year head coach guy, first year of Bill O'Brien being there, not his kids. He just kind of threw that. He molded 7 wins out of with a group of kids that wasn't, really his kids. So I think going forward, once he gets, the people that he wants in there, this could be I don't want to say a coming out party, but an early preview of what is to come and what is to be expected. That says a lot. Like I said, first year head coach, that's not easy to do. Not everybody does that. And again, like with kids you just met, not even a whole year, and you learning them and you got them somehow to get to 7 games. I think that says a lot about what the coaches have there and their job to get things done. And I mean, the kids listen, execute up to a certain type of standard to to win more games than lose. So I'm not overlooking the team. I think they are a very good, strong, rugged team, but they're not. They're not. I don't want to even say a Penn State, or they're not an Indiana first year. They're not. Some of these other. They're not. I don't think they're like an Illinois by any chance, but they definitely can play up to that level.
Yeah, that's where I like their ceiling to me is very similar to like the Huskers this year. Like they're good teams if they show up. They can also just for whatever reason, a few momentum plays can completely take them out of the game. For the bowl game, you just can't really bet. Just people are going to be playing so free and loose. It's hard for me to think of playing a Boston College team that's going to be locked up and one turnover is going to send them spiraling. I just think this is a good year to play Boston College because next year, probably even more than 7 wins. For year one, hell of a start for Bill O'Brien. This team's just going to keep getting better. This is a good opportunity, though, to go ahead and beat him now. It's going to be a bigger challenge in the years to come. I don't know what the ultimate ceiling is there, but in year 2 and year 3, I just think that program's going to keep getting better, kind of similar to Nebraska. And the bowl game for both of these programs is kind of ideal to go ahead and put your first flag down that you're starting to arrive in that conference. For Boston College, ACC's down. Like, yes, there's some good teams in there, but it's really up for the grabs every year. And if you're Nebraska, you're still just now with the addition of Oregon. We'll talk about the college football playoffs. Penn State dominates. Ohio State, SEC can sit down now. I'll say that much about the Tennessee-Ohio State matchup. But
they can't play in the cold. That cold does something. God.
Well, hell, we'll just talk about it now. Just to wrap up on Boston College. I don't know what their ceiling is. I think we're a better team this year. I think we're not really too far off from each other, though. I think 3.5 is a good margin for a neutral site game, kind of giving it to Nebraska because it's going to be more of a home neutral site because we're just going to have better fan travel, I think. Real quick, just score prediction for that game. 28th, 11 a.m. kickoff at Yankee Stadium.
You said it's an 11 o'clock game?
11 a.m. Yep. Pregame starts at 8. So you guys can
hurts.
Early.
Ew. Oh my. Oh, I'm pissed. You give Dana a whole month and some more to kind of really figure out things or whatnot. I mean, I got us 35-17.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I mean, if I every time we do this, I give Nebraska too many points, so I'm not going to go that far. But we saw it with Wisconsin. When it's clicking, it looks pretty good.
And I mean, you've seen that within 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah,
now,
Wisconsin's a much better defense.
Now the kids are comfortable with him. He's comfortable with the kids. He understands, play calls. They understand, what is to be expected and whatnot. It might be a little bit more windy because you right there kind of on the coast.
Yep.
Other than that, I mean, we used to playing in the cold, so that's not going to do anything. Even if you want to make it, more so of a physical game, I think, we kind of have the upper hand on both offense and defense. Our in the trenches, our offensive line have been, a great year. Silenced all the critics. D-line has stepped up and did what they did. I know Tony and company are gone. That makes me a little bit nervous, but I still, give our defense the better of that going against, second string dude who really hasn't had too many live bullets. I think that's just, and the bowl game of stuff, kids playing free last go around, I think that's where, the 30 plus points come in there on the offensive side, or, a pick a turnover on something and, we run it back.
I can see where you're going. I'm going to side with you because that Wisconsin-Nebraska game was a lot more fun to watch than a lot of the previous games. So I'm going to pick to believe that the Dana Holgorsen offense is going to be clicking. Yeah, you got Shorts in there as well. You kind of know the guys in place. Obviously, Garrett McGuire heading to, was it Texas Tech where McGuire's going?
I think so.
Either way, out the door, we bring
See
in
ya.
Shorts. Yeah, some version of that. We bring in Shorts out of Kentucky. Not a bad hire, in my opinion. We'll go 31-17. I like to believe that the Husker offense is going to look similar to what it did versus Wisconsin, especially if you can make Boston College one-dimensional on offense,
they've been well rested. You didn't have to go through that little gauntlet and play Iowa. Like, that was a banged up team. Now you kind of reset a little bit. You get to shop around. You get the bowl game jitters out and everything like that. I think you come out. I think Nebraska comes out and you see them like a little rejuvenated team, and it's like, oh, okay, excuse me, this is what something we could look forward or can expect next year coming forth.
How much of a checkpoint is this? Like, how much does it really matter if Nebraska wins or loses this game? Or is it kind of purely just making it?
No, I think there's a lot of evaluation to be done in this game, especially on the defensive side. With them sticking with the same defensive scheme and everything like that. And I know you got a lot of players and whatnot. So this is kind of your first hand to see things tossed in the fire. And it's, it'll give you a lasting impression until spring ball, until fall camp, until you hear, reports and everything like that. So I think it'll be huge for the defense to kind of see how things compare to Tony. And I hate to say that because I know they're two different individuals or whatnot, but we know what we were getting from there. And, with this defensive coordinator, Nebraska fans are going to want to see it, and they have the expectation of what Tony had. So, if he can do that or more than that and everything like that, fine and dandy, good for us. If you can, make adjustments at halftime or after series and everything like that and lock in and, give something to feed off of and, keep the people at bay, awesome. And then, from the offensive side, it's continue to build on what you have. Hopefully, kids make plays. And that's, the guy throwing the ball and the guys catching the ball on both ends. And, you just see that more consistently, more comfortable, more explosive. So I think this game is I don't want to say a whole lot, but quite enough to judge and look at it and be, I don't feel too comfortable about certain things or, okay, no, I really do like how things are going in the right direction or in this direction. I'm anxious to see, how a whole off season of people, going after grinding it hard and coming back and seeing what things look like, because everybody that, played this year is getting older. And so kids are going to be a lot more comfortable coming back into a scheme and everything like that. So it's quite a bit to kind of, gauge and see.
Yeah. And that's, going with the John Butler hire, not really a new hire, but just promote him from within. that does give me some faith with the defense. I think the tough part for him when we're talking about the defensive side of the ball is, okay, which guys did we lose? And which guys has he kind of already identified that are able to take that next step, not only through the bowl game, but see him what it looks like there and then through the offseason. At least with Butler, you imagine he's already kind of got some guys in mind that he has to go ahead and fill those roles if the guys lost. On top of that, Tony Wine's adjustments at halftime were always really good. Even in that horrible UCLA game, second half was pretty locked down. Despite how ugly it gets, which is very rare for the Nebraska defense, turned out to be pretty stout when those adjustments were made.
Do these kids that transfer in, like now and whatnot, are they at the bowl game? Two, if they are at the bowl game, are they playing? Like, are they eligible to play?
I don't think so. I think that doesn't start
until after the season.
Yeah, I think the semester's got to actually.
And then it makes no sense to have it early. Okay, go ahead, continue. Sorry. Side note.
No, I mean, I agree with you. There's a lot of stupid timeline dates that make zero sense. I'm at the camp, like the December portal is stupid altogether.
You got to go.
Yes, it's terrible.
We didn't already talk about that. I was just, because you were saying, how we are thin at D-line. I was like, yeah, well, we do got some guys that did come in, but I didn't know if they would be able to immediately be here or they're finishing up at their school, and once the spring semester starts, they're here. So that probably makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no. So like, even if we got, a bunch of 5-stars, they're not suiting up come Saturday. At least that's my understanding. I'm almost certain of that. You got to, there's still school like tied to it's not just because you signed a new place to go football. Like, all right, see you later. I know all my classes are going to transfer, which that's a whole nother.
I mean, they're all on the same caliber. So I mean, you might majority of your classes, you might lose a few, but it's not going to be you're not losing a whole semester or anything like that.
No, but it still takes time for those schools to get all that paperwork sorted out. Like even if it's a pretty smooth process, it's like. Just would never make sense in a world where all these universities got to work overtime during the holidays after the first semester ends just to get all these guys ready to go so they can go play in a bowl game if they decide to at all. So, you just get the idea. And like once the spring semester comes around, you can get those guys in early, start the workouts and all that, but not until really spring semester gets up and rolling around. We'll go ahead and throw out the break here. Unless you got any thoughts on Boston College, Pinstripe Bowl, Nebraska, first bowl game since 2016.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't either. I just hope we win the damn thing.
That part.
Yeah, just win it.
Good showing.
A good showing. That's what you need. 11 a.m. So you are going to be kind of that early spotlight for a lot of people.
That hurts.
Hurts for you. I got to work Sunday morning, so I don't always mind an early Saturday kickoff so I can go ahead and get my work done here. Especially, I will say, though, when you lose those 11 a.m. kickoffs, pretty brutal for the rest of the day of college football. But we are going to talk about the rest of college football on segment number 2. Let's go ahead. We'll go through really was a lackluster round 1 of the college football playoffs. We'll talk about the teams that impressed us the most and the teams that really just disappointed not only their own fan base, but just college football fans in general. So don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling. Don't Punt Hour with the morning Pierson-El.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go, with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CR-FR Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CR-F Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CR-F 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $395 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1003769, $395 per month lease with 36 months with proof credit, 7,500 miles per year, $5,250 due with signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 11/30/24. See delivery details.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Second segment, Don't Punt Hour. Last live show here at 93.7 The Ticket. We'll have some replays set up for you guys, though. No worries as we approach the holidays. And just for all those Curious, we will still have, if you got Allo Cable, all of our ticket programming. We'll be replaying all that stuff throughout the holidays in case you guys want to tune into any of it while you celebrate with family. All right, with that being said, now to the way. Good morning, Pierson-El. Let's talk about the rest of this college football bracket here. If you're a fan of college football, it wasn't a good day one. Just what are your overall thoughts?
I understand that it maybe wasn't the Texas Clemson game for each round, but I mean it's football for a reason. If Indiana quarterbacks plays a little bit more consistent, I think they get their offense gets going. Their defense was doing, a solid job, but your offense puts you in worse situations. We've been a part of that to where your defense is just out there. And so, I mean, that's not, I don't want to say, oh, those were bad games and everything like that. No, just the dominant team really dominated. I don't think you should favor more SEC teams for that because, again, climate, it was real big in two of the games. You got a team that's a Southern team. A lot of their, a lot of the places that they play at are hotter. That they don't get to those type of temperatures. So I think that affected SMU tremendously. And that's an early morning game. What if that was a later at night or a later in the evening type of game? That would have been even worse. Tennessee, you can say what you want to say about that. That game shocked me the most because I thought it will be a lot more competitive, but you don't hear people, going off on Tennessee saying, oh, they got blown out and everything like that, like these other two games. So you can say, oh, you can look into next year and say, oh, strength of schedule. I think the most deserving teams, regardless of wins of certain losses and everything like that, deserve to got in there. Now, did they show up on the main stage and everything like that? No. Now, is that the college football's committee's fault that they didn't show up? No. Those teams it wasn't their day for whatever reason.
Yeah, and like to your point with the Indiana game, Curtis Rourke, the Maple Rifle, just didn't have it in that first half, especially. And like you play Indiana 9 out of 10 times, like that's one of the few times you're gonna have a really just rough off Curtis. It's not even like the pressure was just incredible.
No, he was just,
but he was off.
It was terrible. They just couldn't get him in a rhythm to get the offense going on. They had dudes that was making plays or whatnot, but I don't want to say the moment was too big, but whatever, he was in his head overthinking. They got away for simple things. When things did kind of start to go, like it got off track fast or a turnover happened or something like that, they were playing behind the sticks. Notre Dame came ready to play. They looked, like a championship caliber team.
Yeah, they looked good. And that's the other part. Again, that's why I said earlier, like with the SEC fans, the Bama fans, like the Paul Feinbaums of the world, SEC clearly ain't all that because Tennessee.
No, y'all can't handle the cold.
Oh, so and like to your point, day one, and this is what drives me nuts about this. Did we see some games that weren't necessarily close? Yes. What happened in the 4-team playoff bracket? What happened to one team every year? Now we're only picking 4. They should all be good. Every year there's a team getting destroyed by like 30 points.
Blown out.
Whether it's Michigan, whether it's Georgia, whether it's TCU, whether it's Ohio State, somebody always got blown out by 40. And we're talking, this is the semifinals now. You just got to win 2 games and you're a national championship. And you could always still circle. I don't care if we got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's going to be a blowout in here. Round one.
Regardless, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's college football. 18, 19, 20. Now you got NAL. There's distractions. It's just going to happen. Even if the distractions aren't there, that's part of the amateurism of college football. Even though there's real money into it now, these are still kids.
I think this go round, you'll still have 2 games, maybe potentially 3 games that will still be blown out. People are gonna be mad if Penn State shows this type of showing that they showed last time, and they stop this Heisman candidate and everything like that. Okay, but by halftime, people are going to be tuning out. You think, Notre Dame looked good and everything like that. Yeah, Notre Dame was the bully. What happens when the bullies get bullied? that game could be, potentially a blowout, regardless of what the quarterback situation is and everything like that. Because that Georgia defense, is something different. They operate at a different level against a lot of colleges. And then you got Texas and ASU. That could potentially be a blowout. So I mean, the only game that might be somewhat competitive might be the Oregon Ohio State game. So again, for 2 rounds, regardless of what it is, and these are the better teams, the teams that have been in the top 10, still potentially might get blown out. So I mean, that's not going to fix the issue or the problem or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm like, what I've noticed, like, people love to complain about the college football, about like how it's selected. I'm actually okay with the teams in here. All these teams that are on the outside looking in. Yeah, there's an argument, but you lost too many, or you lost to really bad teams.
SMU went head to head with Clemson and was winning up until late. Clemson went toe to toe, and a couple more made plays. Texas might have not got out of there.
Well, so, and SMU is very similar to Indiana, where Jennings for SMU, the defense
was just off.
Actually only gave up 7 points in the entire first half. It should have been 7-0 heading into halftime, but 2 pick sixes, like, yeah, that's 14 points right there. Like, you're just not, dude. But
Penn
State was good.
Penn State's offense was atrocious early on.
Yeah, it was not
like
good.
They got bailed out by their defense, honestly. Like, and if you're playing somebody, one of these other teams other than Boise State, Penn State might get blown out.
Oh, yeah. Penn State's offense was not doing anything.
No.
So it's like, okay, now play Texas. They can score, and they got a much better defense.
Good luck.
Like a blowout to me. Like,
good luck.
It kills me. I don't like Texas, but I think they can deal with the physicality. And unlike, Ewers, or even in hell, even if they said put in Manning in there, like, you're not going to get 2 pick sixes like that. Really could have been 3 turnovers. He got lucky. He was ruled down when he tried to dive at one point. Just a really tough game. And that always goes back to, like, when you're in these games and the Maple Rifle and Curtis Rourke, he's off, you're probably not going to win. Jennings, the quarterback for SMU, he's off. You're probably not going to win the game. You need everybody really dialed in. So it kills me. But looking at this Fighting Irish versus Georgia game, I don't know what Georgia's going to be like at offense at all. Notre Dame defense, though, isn't terribly impressive. It was good against Indiana.
They're scrappy.
I just think with Indiana, if they were able to, I mean, it just got really simplified for Notre Dame. They were just loading up the box because Rourke was just having an awful day, and it didn't seem to matter. He could find anybody.
I think this Georgia Notre Dame game is something along the lines of the convicts versus the Catholics when Miami type, and I'm not calling Georgia convicts. I'm not, insinuating anything like that, but Georgia is an absolute different breed. And you got, your Catholic boys all dressed up and preppy and whatnot, and it can get ugly fast, regardless of, and I know Georgia's quarterback situation. First off, I think he a 4 or 5 star regardless. He's an accurate, he's an athlete and everything like that. They've had, 3 weeks to kind of prepare and prep and get him situated and get things more comfortable and whatnot. This could be a game where you could see the defense tee up and just cause havoc to, score more points or something like that. And what we've seen from these other quarterbacks, when the snow falls and starts piling up, it's just gonna keep rolling. Like, that could happen to Notre Dame.
Oh, no question. Again, like, that's all these games are showing. Like, all these teams in here, none of them, at least to me this year, are super dominant. Outside of the version we saw out of Ohio State, outside of the version that we've kind of seen through Oregon throughout the year, but even Oregon's had some lapses where the Wisconsin game, there's a few more in there. Obviously, Ohio State was their other really close game, and
if Ohio State play like that, play that type of defense and be stingy, I think Oregon's going to be in a problem.
I think so too.
They're going to have a situation on your hand. We both know Oregon and Ohio State love shootouts. That's the type of game that they want to be. For that game, it's going to be more so of who can create more stops or whose offense can stay on the field long enough to withhold the opposing team's offense.
Yeah, and if you're Ohio State, I mean, it's just a good revenge game. I mean, you're right there on the road too. I think it was at Autzen when they went and played Oregon, and I mean, they really should have won that game. I shouldn't say they should. They didn't win it, but they were
driving down. They were driving down, and just ran out of time.
Yeah, that's
because they were moving the ball.
12-man on the field situation. You give credit to Lanning, just a really unique coaching awareness in those situations. And if I remember correctly, the Ohio State quarterback just took off with the ball and it just killed the whole damn thing. But it's a good chance for revenge. I want to ask you this because I think a lot of people might have said Penn State was the most impressive team yesterday. Like throughout that, I disagree. That offense looked bad. To me, it was just the defense was so overwhelming. They looked really good. Which teams really impressed you that you might circle as the favorites now? Or teams we haven't even seen yet. I mean, you could still be really high on Arizona State.
Honestly, I was more impressed with Clemson than Texas. Texas handled their situation and everything like that, but Texas has their issues too. And their Achilles heels have been teams like Georgia. For whatever reason, they get punked, they get psyched out of it, they just don't show up or whatever. So that could happen against an Oregon or Ohio State coming out of this game, or you got a hot ASU team who, that we believe in type team. You might be in a shootout, with this one. So I wouldn't say Texas really impressed me.
Now Dabo was making a run at the end.
I'm telling you I think the most impressive team so far out of everything was a team that lost. I think that Clemson team really showed grit.
Well, it's got to be Ohio State, right?
No,
boy, Tennessee looks. I'll tell you what, they look silly.
If you are, I think that was a good showing. But I think if you're in a dome, I don't know if that necessarily goes like that.
I mean, I'm not going to take it away from them, though. They used the elements to their advantage.
Ohio State's offense was rolling. Their defense handled situations and everything like that. But it has an asterisk next to it. I'm not ready to believe it.
Yeah,
I'm not ready to believe it because we've seen y'all, lose to a Michigan team who's not as talented as y'all, regardless, at home. So it's just I need to see more. So it's like I'm staying away from them because it's just like it's fool's gold. It could be, maybe not. I think Notre Dame definitely made a statement with what they did. I think their first possession, on the offensive side, the dude went 98 yards out the gate.
Yeah, on that run. I can't remember who it was, but yeah.
He was a track star because they kept saying I think he ran like a 10-4, 10-5 or something like that.
It matched up. I mean,
what they were able to do on the offensive side and defensive side, it was a complete game. That was really, really impressive. Like I said, I'm staying away from the Ohio State one. I'm not so sure they are what they are just yet.
Yeah, if I had to pick a team, I'm going Ohio State. All these teams, I could say they're all a little bit of fool's gold here. Notre Dame was impressive. If Curtis Rourke's playing better, Notre Dame probably still wins that one because
I think it would be a closer game.
Yeah, it'd be closer, but unlike Indiana, Notre Dame was also able to run the ball with some decent success. Indiana it was really all on Curtis Rourke, and when he was off, it's just they weren't winning the line of scrimmage from the first snap. So that really put him in a box. I'd probably. It's crazy, but looking at it now, going through the Final Four, I probably got Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, and I do got Notre Dame, which I was really down on Notre Dame. But you're right. I think the way they came off in that game, I think versus the Georgia team, there is going to be a little extra layer to that. I don't know what the headline is, but it's going to be more than even just the college football playoff game. There's going to be some chippiness, I'm sure.
I think Georgia is literally going to swamp Notre Dame. I don't think. I think it might be close for a quarter.
What's the adjusted Final Four for you then? Knowing what we know now.
I got Penn State, Georgia.
I'd love to see the Arizona State upset.
I would too. I got Penn State, Georgia. I got Ohio State. I got Ohio State beating Oregon, and I would like ASU, but I think Texas might be a little bit too much. Texas had 21 points in the blink of an eye.
Yeah,
like and I mean Arizona can, they can get into a shootout with stuff, but I don't think their offensive line will be enough to stop Texas D-line. I think Texas D-line is right up there, a close second to Georgia's D-line.
Yeah, if Arizona State wins this one, for me, it's Texas falling asleep late.
Yeah.
Just kind of feeling like it's put away, and then here comes two quick strikes from Arizona State. Then you're in a last 6 minutes of chaos where they just need one crucial play, and Texas maybe feels the pressure a little bit too much, and they cough it up. I probably got Texas as well, though. Yeah, I mean, looking at this, we're pretty similar there. The only difference is you got Georgia and I got Notre Dame. Which team?
We've seen this before with Notre Dame. Like we've seen this how many times and times again when they go up against an SEC team, and they've had better teams than what they've had now. They've had better quarterbacks. They've had better playmakers than what they've had now. And this team still has the worst loss out of all college playoff teams, regardless. Like at home.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't care. Like, no, you beat Army. I don't want to hear it.
And Navy.
I don't want to hear it.
And Texas A&M.
All right, I'll give you that one.
That one's a good one. It's week one, though. The week ones are always really tough because, I mean, it's first week. All those teams are kind of the worst forms of what they're going to end up at the end of the year. Still a good win, though. I mean, Texas A&M shaking out to be a pretty solid team by the end of the year. But that's kind of where I'm at. I don't like anybody as like a true favorite to win it all. If I had to pick one, I'd go Ohio State. I wanted to ask you this, though, because kind of back, you look at teams like Oregon, Arizona State, Boise State, Georgia. Like, is that bye almost bad for you in some ways?
I think so.
It's like a lot of time off.
For Georgia, probably not. One, like you had probably one of the hardest SEC schedules, so that gives y'all time to rest. You address your quarterback situation. You can kind of figure out a plan of what this quarterback wants to do. You can get him comfortable and prepared. So I think for Georgia, it plays out well. For Oregon, I'm not so sure. You were playing so hot and fast and everything like that, and you got a hot Ohio State coming. I don't, you might have pumped the brakes too much and cooled off a little bit too much, and that's where Ohio State can catch you. Ohio State's hungry. They're aggravated and pissed off. You've been chilling all season. You the champs. You're not overlooking them, and I think that coach will have them ready to play. But that might be a freight train that you can't stop. With ASU,
that's a win. I think for like Boise State and ASU,
you're just happy to be there. You're happy to have a seat at the table.
To get a bye on top of everything. Like that's where I'm at. I think if like you're a Boise State, Arizona State, you'll take the bye. Because not only do you got a seat at the table, you also avoided a potential juggernaut that you don't even have to play anymore. And I think that's the whole other thing. I'm okay with it right now. It still needs some tweaking. I don't know if Group of 5 should ever get a bye. Just because like the strength of schedule should come into account.
If it is 24 or 27 in the first quarter, do you know the hell that will be raised go off of Boise State? Like, I don't think, regardless of if another one of those teams go 12-0, I don't think they will have the number 4 spot ever again. You might have 8 to 12 somewhere in there just off of that. If it gets bad early, and mind you, you're playing a slow start Penn State team. You're not playing, a high, I don't want to say a high caliber, but you're not playing a quick start Penn State team.
Miami,
Miami might have done something a little bit different if they were somewhere hot in here, but Penn State starts slow, and I mean, so that might play into the favor of Boise. But if it gets ugly fast and early, people gonna be tuning out before halftime.
Yeah, and I want to ask you, like, looking at these games, the Penn State one's the most intriguing to me for that exact reason. Penn State did not start fast versus SMU. The defense started fast. The offense was anything but efficient.
They've been like that, though.
They have been. But to Boise State, is this kind of a tough matchup problem for them? Because Boise State will happily play that same style of brand, and they just need a lead.
Well, like the type of ball that Boise State is going to claim to be or play and everything like that, we've seen that. Penn State's seen that in the Big Ten. What does Iowa do? What does Minnesota do? You know what? Like what you can say? What do we do? You know what I mean? Like we have that type of run style and everything like that. What does Wisconsin do? So it's not something that Penn State isn't prepared for. What does Michigan do? You know what I mean? So that type of ball, it's like, oh, okay, like this is more so maybe like a lesser challenge of a Big Ten game. Just of okay, man on man, and you got a back in open space to do something. Penn State's defense knows how to tackle. They get off the ball. Even if it does get crazy early, they can rail things back in, and they can ignite things and turn it on quickly. So like I'm not panicking against a Heisman runner-up versus Penn State. I think Penn State have enough pieces on that defense to really show up and kind of plug and stop that leak before it even gets started. Yeah,
unfortunately, I agree with you. I think it's a fun thought.
Outside of Genty, I couldn't even tell you who the quarterback is.
No,
I couldn't tell you who a wide receiver is. Outside of Genty, I don't know nobody on the team. That's just me being honest.
It's Genty. I think that is the team. I mean, you look at the stats, it's all
they're not a Wisconsin. They're not a Wisconsin with Melvin Gordon. They're not a Wisconsin with Corey Clement. They're not a Wisconsin with Jonathan Taylor. They're not with Braylon Allen. All right, so we've seen what Wisconsin can do with first round offensive lineman and first round talent back. Yes, he may be a first round talent. Cool, and he can have a game of his life. And I say, okay, he just did. But Penn State is used to those type of games.
And unfortunately, I think that's why the spread's 10.5. Because I think Penn State, as soon as they got that line of scrimmage shut down,
it's over.
It'll be relatively early.
What are you going to do?
Over. They can't. That's it. That's game. So unfortunate, but I think you're right on it. Where this is a big opportunity for Boise State. They need to win it though, because you're not going to get that bye again.
No,
against a Penn State team like this, you're exactly right. This is their bread and butter is stopping people like you. They get that line of scrimmage controlled. There's no other option.
It's going to be a long flight back to Boise.
It absolutely will be. All right, final thought. Nebraska basketball deserves a tip on the cap, as well as the Husker volleyball team on a good season. But Husker basketball, they got Hawaii tonight. I believe it's 9:30. It might be 8:30 Central Time. I can't remember if 9:30 was Eastern Time. But no, they play again tonight versus Hawaii. But yesterday, they played Murray State. Murray State, I don't know if they're that bad or if Nebraska basketball is onto something. And I'm not even just trying to be super mean to Murray State. It could have been Nebraska's defense, but man, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn yesterday. Whether it's free throws or jump shots, it was tough sledding for Murray State. And we've seen Nebraska play some pretty good basketball. So that win over them, I think Nebraska should be favorites to win this Hawaii tournament anyways. They look better than the teams there. How much do you put on this Nebraska team for a win like that? It was gritty, defensively dominated. Same time, I don't really know if Murray State's a caliber opponent.
I mean, the fact that you took care of business in the way and the showing of what you're supposed to, how you were supposed to do it, that says a lot. I don't know necessarily if the team last year necessarily handles those situations like that.
That's a good point.
Especially with being on the road. We wasn't really, nobody in the Big Ten was really, road warriors. we were a home team. So the fact that they're in a place like that and showing that type of performance and everything like that, I think again with the veterans that are in the program and with the coach is doing and everything like that, that's a step forward than what we've seen. Now you add in a bad day or a bad showing by Murray State and it looks the way it did. So I would say both parties have a hand in making it look the way it did.
That's a good point. Nebraska on the road is always the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral site, or obviously you play on the road in the Big Ten, it adds another layer. But if you get a neutral site game, got to win those.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you lost the one to St. Mary's, but you only lost it by 3.
And St. Mary's is a good squad.
Yeah, really good squad.
They're good. They're a good program. Period.
Yeah, and like that's a loss that'll probably end up helping you if it's one of the only few losses you have. Like obviously, no loss helps you, but if it's a team like that, it's not going to bury you in Ken Palm or any of the other ratings. Like that's a quality team.
Yeah.
At least at Murray State, that's different. Murray State now 6-5. And just to give you the defensive dominance of the Huskers as we wrap this one up. Yesterday, Murray State was 17 for 55. 30% overall from the floor, 7 for 27 from the 3-point line. So the Huskers held them to 25% there. And on the free throws, that's one where you'll just take it. If they don't want to make the free throws, thank you. 8 for 15, they shot 53%. On the flip side, Nebraska, 89% on the free throw line, continuing to dominate there. Wasn't a great shooting night, about 48%, 35% from 3. But again, if you're going to make your free throws and go, how many did they even shoot? They actually didn't get as much as thought, 8 of 9. But still, Murray gets 15, and they still only make 8. You match them there, and then rebounds, you win that one, dominating it. The only other battles you really lost was turnovers, 15 to Murray State's 10. That's just the issue that's going to keep popping up.
Mm-hmm.
But the real key, that 40 rebounds to Murray State's 26. And Andrew Morgan is a hell of a backup for Nebraska basketball. I mean, he's been the best addition Nebraska's had this offseason. He was 12 points, 12 rebounds on, I think, 7 of 8 shooting, or 6 of 8 shooting.
That's just what you need. You don't want to give the opposing teams, offensive rebounds and everything like that. So that's something that they were missing and struggled against last year with bigger teams. So again, veteran leadership, you got length and whatnot, and these tournaments and everything like that will help build confidence and kind of get them to get a published playing style for once they, come back into the mainland and start, getting into the grit of things.
Absolutely. When they come back to the mainland, but that'll be a while. We got a few more games left. Shout out to Husker basketball again. Just a dominant performance. Andrew Morgan. And then you got the new version of Keisei Tamanaga away. Connor Siege at 15 points, most of them from behind the arc. All right, good morning, Pierson-El. Appreciate the time as always. Happy holidays. Enjoy the Christmas. We'll see you again come next week. But that's going to do it for us here at 93.7 The Ticket. Enjoy the holidays, everybody. Appreciate you listening.